We're going to talk a little bit more about the characters of the book. We're going to find out how the struggles they had, why they're a good partnership, and how come this book actually works. So first up, we're having a little chat before, and see Aaron's very conceptual, got a lot of ideas. He can put them out there, but he can't write it down. So Aaron, you had a few struggles there, right?
Yep.
How did you overcome those?
Well, Sheree is correct. But I'd like to say, like the first the struggles I had. Well, I didn't really finish the first chapter, and just comes down to the narrative. I found that really hard. So.
What did you find hard about the narrative?
Okay.
What do you mean?
So if this might be really simple for some people. But being not a reader myself, I found it hard to say, okay, this guy, he's narrating this, and then he's narrating a story about. So he's talking first, and then he's narrating a story about two people that are talking. And then these two people are telling another story about two other people that are talking. And I was like, well, I don't know how to make everyone know who's talking there. I don't even know who's talking there. So, so that was my problem. I was like, I don't know. So yeah.
So that's where Sheree steps in.
Yeah.
And so how did you resolve that situation?
Well, pretty much after I collected all of Aaron's thoughts and sort of got the general idea of the story, I realised that there was an overall narrator of the story who's a character named Ben in the story, but he's actually telling the story that someone else told him. And it reminded me of when I was in year 11, I read the book, and some other people might have read it, The Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which is actually the Martin Sheen movie Apocalypse Now. It's the book that movie is based on, for anyone who's seen it. And pretty much I remembered from my year 11 class, the teacher asking everyone who's the narrator, and everyone's like, oh, well, Marlowe, the main guy. And I was like, well, no, it's the guy in the boat from the beginning of the book who said, I was in a boat and Marlowe started telling me a story, and then this is Marlowe's story. So I kind of got what Aaron was trying to achieve just from recalling that book. Mm-hmm. And for me it was quite simple and natural that, okay, the overall narrator's Ben, but he's telling Sir Arnold's story, and Sir Arnold is a lizard who Ben meets on a train station at the very beginning, and you sort of hear about Sir Arnold's story through Ben. So, yeah.
And once that started happening, did the story become easier to work out, or?
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, it wasn't hard to work out. I knew what was happening all the time.
Yeah.
It was in here.
Yeah.
But it was. I suppose for me, it was the punctuation and all that. Yeah. I wanted the readers to get who was talking, and I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's where I stepped in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, tell us a little bit about the main character. So I'll get Aaron. I'll talk a little bit about Ben.
Okay. Well, Ben, he's just an average guy. He's one day he's going to his average job. He lives up in Blue Mountains, Blackheath, and he's catching the train to the city. He works in the city, catches the train there, He meets a talking lizard.
Wearing a tuxedo.
Wearing a tuxedo and a top hat, that's right. So,
as you do.
Yes. So...
His life has changed forever.
Yeah, from that moment he's... it's not average anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
And so Sir Arnold is the lizard.
Yep.
And... he meets this lizard and
what's the lizard's deal?
Well, you want...
Yeah.
Me? Okay.
Yeah. Carry on.
Well, the lizard's deal is, he was just an ordinary, run-of-the-mill garden lizard.
Yeah.
That was taken to a magical place called Rotterdam.
Yeah.
If you take a lizard to a magical place, strange things are going to happen.
Takes on human-like proportions.
Yes. So hence why he's wearing a suit and talking.
Yes.
Yes.
So they're going to Rotterdam. What happens next? Sheree?
You take on, you hear about Sir Arnold's first, it was actually, Sir Arnold tells Ben the story of his first arrival in Rotterdam, which was 20 years before Ben actually met him. And tells you about just all the frustrations he had going, I'm a lizard and I'm thinking, I don't understand, like what's going on. And yeah, like he meets this character Lisa, who sort of helps him adapt to life in Rotterdam, and you hear a bit about her story. And yeah, and then you find out about, I guess, some of the philosophy behind Rotterdam. And
Okay, Aaron, do you want to tell us a bit about the philosophy?
Okay, the philosophy. Well, yeah, it's not what it should be. They have, in Rotterdam, they've forgotten where they've come from, where Rotterdam, how Rotterdam was made, who was the creator, and all that sort of stuff. And well, it becomes a myth, and they've seemed to replace it with a really full-on religion of fate and destiny. And I say it's full on because it's like, it's just ridiculous.
Give us an example.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay. If you want to work out something, you've got two ideas. You don't know which one to go for. So you'd say something like, "Oh, if I hear a crow in the next 5 minutes, I will choose this idea in my right hand."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and oh, that's the way it goes. You know, yeah.
Sort of voiding yourself or decision making.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, responsibility, I guess.
Yeah, but it gets ridiculous. Even if they do somehow make a decision for themselves, that they put it towards something. Something happened for you to come to that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how is the philosophy important to the story?
I guess, like with Sir Arnold, he comes into this place that has this philosophy, having no idea of the background, and just sees it from an outsider's view as being completely ridiculous. And I guess he shakes things up a bit, and actually, they've the jester who you saw in the drawings that we auctioned off before, he is the evil man who's taken over the throne, and you should never trust funny men. And
No.
yeah, and he's sort of taken Rotterdam to this horrible place, and they've been fighting this war to get him off the throne and restore the kingdom for so long, because no one's actually made a decision on how to actually win the war and planned any strategy. So Sir Arnold sort of comes along and goes, well, you know, you're not going to win a war without actually knowing what you're doing to win it. So yeah. And he sort of rises up and becomes the leader of the resistance movement against the jester. That's the name of the book.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're about to speak.
No, I was just thinking, that just gives you even better example of how ridiculous their religion is. Because some people will say, well, why is the jester the king now? He wasn't meant to be. And how is that destiny? But then they contradict themselves because, well, it happened, so it had to be.
Yeah.
They can't, yeah, there's no clear thing.
Yeah, does it get resolved in this book?
Not fully.
No.
There is definite steps forward,
Yeah.
I guess, in, revealing to them, like, that the way they're living probably isn't the best way, but there's not a total revolution.
Yeah.
Does it jar their system?
Oh, I think they kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, works out well.
And you'll come across different characters that have a strong belief in it, and and some that don't really follow it too well, and others that just don't believe it at all. So yeah.
And Arnold's cool with taking on this leadership role?
Reluctant at first.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me a bit about this dude, this fella here.
Captain Midnight.
Yes. Oh well, he's one of the leaders of the rebel army. He's a frog man, or loudmouth.
Matt on the
right.
backside, he was a frog.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, he's been his people have been invented by another bad character. There's basically two bad characters that work together, and there's the witch Alex, and she has created these these loudmouths. Yes, they
So you say loudmouth, why is that important to the plot?
they're loudmouths because yeah,
They don't speak
they
very
don't
well.
speak very well. Yes.
So, and what they say is crude and
Yes.
boisterous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they actually got banished at one stage.
Yes.
So-
To the west.
Yeah.
Well,
There's no subtle hints there.
So are there any other characters we can talk about that, yeah, without giving too much away about the plot?
There's some cool... The old king,
The old
King Lawson the
You
second.
like him.
Yes, I love
Okay, so I haven't actually read the book yet. So tell me about the king.
Okay, well, he doesn't really feature much in the story. I mean,
He's the
it's
best.
been, but he's the best. He's been off his throne for a while by the time the story starts. Now, he had some problems.
Such as?
As do royals do, I suppose. And he wanted to please everyone. He wanted everyone to be happy.
Yeah.
He made ridiculous laws to prevent sadness. So he just wanted happiness, which this was kind of confusing for him, and because, well, you implement a law, you know, and someone breaks that law, and then you make that person unhappy by punishing them.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It was a conundrum.
And with an extra of fate and destiny. And,
so
Okay.
yeah, yes. So this is because he was a bit of a loony. It was easy for him to lose his throne,
Yeah.
I guess.
Suggested it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's the philosophy. That's enough of the plot without giving too much away.
Yes, read it.
You'll have to buy the book up the back to find out more. Tell us just a little bit about the next phase, the next book. Where are things headed?
Where should we go? I don't want to give it away because there's something significant that happens at the end of this book that
Well-
sort of leads to the next
Oh,
book.
okay.
Well, I suppose we could say that, you know, the philosophy and the religion and where they are in this first book from what I just said.
Yeah.
So I guess the next book is the start of restoring that.
Yeah.
It's the restoration. That's the name of the
The
next
second
book.
book,
So things may not get restored completely, but you know, people start to find out the truth. You know, where they belong and where they, you know, what they should believe and who they are. So yeah.
And I guess all three books are almost the memoirs of Ben, the narrator. So he'll sort of take you on the journey, so he'll continue to be the narrator of the second book and the third book. So
Okay.
yeah, he might be telling stories of other people that he met, or it might be Sir Arnold, or we'll wait and see.
You'll have to find out.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, guys. We'll wrap it up there.